This is cozy.
What do we
talk about like this? Can I be like in a Sync's office?
So we're back for another episode, but Rob's sleeping over here.
Awake.
He's quite tired today. We've done a few episodes.
We've had good old jet lag.
It's a little jet lag.
No,
Today,
we're feeling good.
Today,
Today,
we're going to talk about keeping it simple, right? First,
that's the topic title.
talking about keeping it simple. Why? Why is that important?
Because it can get very confusing.
Because people can make it very confusing.
It's not a massively, and I'm probably at fault for some of it. Like realistically in skiing, you don't need that
I'm at fault
much.
too.
We're all at fault.
Yeah.
Like the way that skiing works is realistically, as long as you get, we'll say it again and again, and we'll keep saying it, the same thing. If you get your athletic stance right, that's 80% of it. You get your position. It's just so much of it. Then there's rhythm, there's movements, but for 80% of the bell curve, I love that. Like for 80% of it, that athletic stance and how you stand on a ski is so incredibly important.
What about fuel octane? What about ZeroOff settings? What about ropes? What about?
That's the whole bell curve thing. That's like 2% of the bell curve.
So explain what you mean.
So I know exactly.
Or if you don't want to, I mean, just tell me how you feel about it.
I feel like a lot of it's overcomplicated, overzested. We see so much
Overzested.
Yeah. Just like, in a lemon and you just keep zesting until you go too far and it goes white and just too much.
Too much.
Like I think people see the high end of the sport, and in this sport, it's so easily connected that we hear about all of the complaints at tournaments. We hear about skiers moaning about ropes, whether it be master line, HO, S lines. No matter what rope you put in a tournament, someone is going to moan.
Yep.
If it's great, if it's bad. Travis Grand Prix was the most insane scores in the world, and those people complain about the rope.
Yeah. There's always going to be
California Prime rope complaints, Masters rope. There's no matter what event you're at, you turn up to an event. You turn up to a pro event nowadays, and you get there, and there's kind of some complaints because the feel of professional skiers is insane.
Yeah.
I'm not even close.
It's a different level.
I'm not even close to that. I have a good feel, but some of the stuff
I would put you in that category.
But some of the stuff, because I moan a little bit too.
Yep.
I moan a bit too, but some of the feel
I didn't
wise.
mean that. I mean like the
pro
feel
levels.
wise.
Yeah. But some of the feel is insane, and it's just different to whatever we train on. Whatever we train on, if we go to a tournament, it's different. There's complaints, and that I think is a big problem.
Isn't that a big problem?
That is a big problem, because the first thing that you hear when you turn up to an event is the problems. You never, unless you kind of know like Worlds is going to be. Like Travis Grand Prix, I mean, there was so few complaints because we know that it's perfect, and the reputation of that site, of the place and things like that, no one can go and complain. There still will be some. There'll be someone trying to pick a problem, whether it's the end, whether it's the... But the main title of this is keep it simple.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it comes back to us pros being at fault for making problems and then it getting connected, it going on forums and stuff.
Devil's
like
advocate though, advocate, the pros are in a different class, like you said. They're not in the middle of the bell curve. They're in the edge of the distribution. Professional skiing demands a certain level of quality in the setup, quality in the equipment optimization, and consistency.
Yeah.
But also, to be a pro, and this is just me talking, you have to invest basically your whole self, a lot of your whole self into this.
100%.
The ego gets involved. If things don't go as planned, there needs to be a reason.
So that you can not turn up to the next tournament and I think that's part of it. There's another tournament next week, so if you blame yourself, then you're mentally already done sometimes.
Well, that's the problem. Are you though?
No, but for some people.
And I would argue those people aren't as evolved as of an athlete as they could be.
Yeah,
personally speaking, I would say if you can't take personal responsibility for the outcome, then you start passing the buck, and pretty soon, I feel like I can't speak 100% with confidence, but I feel like we've always had a bit of that in the sport. I feel like there's a little bit more of that in the sport right now. Yeah. The sense of external factors being part of it, and back to keeping it simple. The problem is
we've started on keep it simple, then we got very aggressive.
That just trickles. But I feel like that might be the nucleus of this issue of this trickle down effect of ZeroOff, of boat calibration, of ropes, of all this gear and equipment optimization, when 80% of the skiers just need to focus on the basics.
And even then, I think people see people at the pinnacle of the sport and they just assume that's how they got there. Like,
yeah,
I didn't have my own rope till I was, I think, 16, 17, getting a few at 39. And the only reason I got a rope was because I was going to go to a lake. My dad made me get the rope, and he's like, you need to get a rope now. Like, you're going to lakes where you don't know if the rope's going to have knots in, ties in. It wasn't like, I need a rope because I can't ski. So I'd ski with the Tom. We had 3 club ropes. We'd pick this one that day. One was bungee, one was stretchy. No idea. Drivers, it didn't matter.
I think that makes you a stronger skier.
And I know the reason Will Asher, the reason I know is because obviously cousins, we know each other well, but I know his upbringing was on the same lake that I was on, but when the lake was 20 years devolved almost.
Yeah.
Like, it was rolly, it was movie. The boats sometimes weren't great. The ropes, it was 20 years ago, they sucked. The boys were massive.
He had to manage all these
The driving
variables.
at our place back home, it's got better, but the driving always used to be like a member thing. You'd turn up and drive with anyone. And this is someone at a time that would run 39:41.
Yeah.
And he got that level. So I think everyone sees you at the pinnacle, and at the end, once we've built that feel, we've got a bit prima donna. We've got a bit moany because we know what is perfect for ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think that can be a big one. And I think we can stop with the pro bashing for now.
We're not bashing.
No, all I am.
We're trying
I'm
to
bashing
identify.
myself, but I'm bashing myself because
right.
I'm a start of it.
Yeah.
Because you go to a place, first thing is, where's the problems? Because I'm trying to find those problems to fix them.
Or at least so that you can be aware of them.
Well, yeah, so I can fix them. So if I know, I go to a site, I ski behind a HI rope all the time. I know that if I go to a masterline rope, it's going to be bungee. Not a problem either way. I don't care. But I turn up to a site, and my first reaction is, okay, that's bungee. Whoa, right, how do we deal with that?
Yeah.
It's not, that's bungee, I can't ski.
No, it's bungee, we're going to manage.
I'm going to figure out that I need more balance through the finish of the turn. I need to build load into centerline. I need to make sure that I'm staying away with my connection off the set. Well, I change my keys.
Yeah.
So I get to and that is
to match the equipment or to match the variable.
Yeah. And I think everyone sees that and people complaining, and obviously with social media, you hear about it so much quicker. And so it spirals.
Back to what you said about simplicity, and 80% of it is, well, roughly, is stance.
Yeah.
How you stand on the ski. Can we dig into that? Because I would like to say, my 2 cents would be, it's not just set your stance and forget it.
No,
it's like stance to maintain
Yeah.
what you call kind of that perpendicular
Yeah.
or that balanced position on the ski. Often you have to make some dynamic moves in an effort to kind of keep in the right spot on the ski. So, but if you can master that, it's not easy, but if you can master that one fundamental, you'd be a better skier. I don't care if you're Freddie Winter or if you're running 15 off at 30 miles an hour.
So in the way of keeping it simple, I would say that you can have an athletic stance. I keep using the word, but it's just an easy way to say stood well on the ski. And you can get away with some other stuff. You can't have a non-athletic stance, and you can't do anything. If you're stood in the perfect position and stood there doing nothing, you're just lazy. You're not putting in the same effort. You're trying to be too efficient. You're gonna get somewhere. If you're bent over double without an athletic stance, that is the first tick box. There's no, we're just gonna skip that one and come back to it.
What's another simple thing besides stance that people maybe tend to belittle or downplay that they focused on, it could make a big difference?
See, a big one for me, simple, way oversimplified, is speed.
Speed.
A lot of people don't have enough speed, in my opinion, to the first wake, so that then they're trying to pull it. That makes them pull long after the second side.
Yep.
A lot of it comes down to carrying more speed into first wake. Whether you want to be wider on the gate, whether you want to pull harder, whether you want to be more aggressive, that's up to you to decide. I can't see you ski.
So you can't see anybody ski. Give people 2 actionables on how to generate better speed into first wake.
Physicsy wise,
anyway,
would be
2 keys from your
2 like coaching keys would be
usually
focus on setting more angle. That doesn't mean more load. That doesn't mean more, but focus on setting a good body position at the finish of the turn.
Yep.
And for me, making sure that ski's round and set and light. It doesn't mean that we're pulling this way to make the ski come round. That's the biggest problem. That's a whole other story.
Yeah.
But the first one would be, because you can't have speed without angle.
Yep.
In the way that we slalom and building load. And the second one would be committing to first wake a little bit more if you're having that problem.
Meaning don't back off as you're approaching the wakes.
Yeah, or some people I think got very, very caught up in the era of we need to edge change early, we need to, which is important, obviously, again.
Yeah.
But a lot of people get caught up in, I need to make sure that I'm light, I'm efficient, I'm really using the boat to my own advantage. And then Nate came along and made it look like he was walking through the trees and everyone goes, oh, he's not doing anything, I need to not do anything. And then an interview comes out and he's like, I'm doing a lot. And people
as much as he can. Yeah,
miss that interview, right?
Yeah.
So it's the whole efficiency thing, and there's all light behind the boat, and it looks so pretty, and then you get to 38, and the boy's over there.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like, so, sorry, that wasn't a very simple key, but setting more angle through the finish of the turn, and just being a little more committed to first wake. Not, if, again, this is very specific, but not behind the boat, not to second wake, we're not being patient, we're getting the ski round in a balanced position, and then we're building into first wake. And if you're having a problem with speed, if you're coming up short, or pulling long, or doing all this kind of stuff, I found it can really help when done correctly. Yeah.
I think to keep it simple, I would agree. I do think the biggest deficiency for, lower level skiers, I would say skiers that are running up to 28 off, usually speaking, the biggest deficiency is like not being able to build angle or speed to first wake.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the biggest thing. So focusing on that, remembering keys that you may have been given in the past by a coach, remembering things you've read on the internet, reaching out to us.
First, can I interject there? Because another thing, completely partly my fault, because I've put out like 15 videos on my own channel, and they all talk about different things. But do not listen to all of them. My uncle, Mike Hazelwood, everyone knows him, famous, whatever. If you're like, a lot of people know him. He's a very good skier, and he'll come back and go, love your video, I tried it. I tried that. I watched this video, and then he'll come back and say, I watched this video, I'm trying this, and watch it, because he's so willing to learn and get back into the sport.
But he's trying everything.
And he's trying absolutely everything. I'm like, Mike, just, your problems,
keep it simple.
Your problems aren't me telling someone to keep the handle tight, or to these little niggle that is just because it's fun and I enjoy creating it and that kind of stuff. But use it, test it, try it, but you cannot try every single video, because every single video isn't deemed at you. Sorry, carry on.
That's funny, because Mike Hazelwood's one of the most legendary skiers of all time,
and he can run 35 and he can run 38, but he's so ready to.
But he wants to learn. He's still eager
and learn the new styles and techniques and fins and everything.
He's an old dog, and he wants to learn new tricks.
He very much does.
And you're telling him, Uncle Mike, don't do that.
Chill.
Wow, how backwards is that?
No, but I love the passion, but don't watch every video and think that it's aimed at you.
Yep. And that goes back to kind of what we talked about in the past, I think, about, or at least our methodology with FPM is trying to give people better tools and better understanding, so that as skiers you can say, don't want to deal with that right now. This makes a lot of sense. I'm going to try this for the next 2 weeks. And then giving a good college try to 1 or 2 simple cues or keys that they can sink their teeth into.
Yeah.
So that's exactly right.
100%.
So the biggest thing I think for keeping it simple would be, how do you improve speed angle to first wake? That's the biggest, I think, gap in most skiers' game. And I think, and it's crazy, it goes back to stance, but it goes back to kind of finding your keys that get you to make the right move at the right time.
Yeah.
And the rhythm with the boat. And we're going to talk about rhythm and cadence and all that later. Yeah. But big thing is finding a way to get more energy from the boat in the right direction.
100%.
If you get stuck in the back seat, you get a lot of load on your body, and there's a lot of load on your ski and the rope, but you're not getting to the wakes quickly, you know that you're inefficient. Simple. But if you feel like you're putting effort into the system and you're getting to the wakes quicker than you ever have, don't be afraid. I would say don't be afraid of that. That's a simple
and as long as you're carrying that speed, as long as you then carry that speed in a good direction off the second side, I feel like that's the key: angle, speed, and direction.
Yeah.
And where that direction goes, and I think if you get those 4 things right, you can be the best in the world.
Yeah.
In simple format, like that's all they do better than
anybody else.
Other people.
Yeah. The other thing I think about keeping it simple is allowing people to learn how they learn, or to uncover how they best learn. Some people learn by observation. Some people learn by conceptual thought, by hypothesis. Some people learn by being told, do this. Figuring out what kind of learner you are, and then finding ways to use that pathway to find or to move in the direction you want to move is key. And one example for me is like frame of reference. So some people really, really focus on the handle and where the handle is relative to their body usually, but the handle becomes the frame of reference. And I think that's not bad. That's not wrong. There's never a wrong. But oftentimes what happens is we get in this battle of, well, the handle's way out and I'm not close to it.
Yeah.
So how do I get the handle closer to me? Well, we know unless it's a, S line or master line that's, on its last days, it's never going to come to you. It's never going to come closer. Your body has to be closer to the handle. Otherwise the handle's going to be further away.
Yeah.
So the point is the handle's never going to move. It's about how do you keep your body closer to the handle instead of keeping the handle closer to your body. It sounds really, really like not a big deal, big difference. But if you think about it in terms of your feet, oftentimes people do really well when they think about where their feet are instead of where their body is. And so I think finding ways to think about skiing in different light.
So where I would play devil's avocado on that, because
I like avocados.
We're in the game of simplicity in this one.
80%. We're trying to reach 80% of the skiers in the middle.
So would you say that's overcomplicating it?
I wouldn't.
I think
it could be, yes, but pulling out for the gates.
Yeah.
Most skiers, before they pull out for the gates, their weight is usually back.
Yeah.
80% of skiers. When they then go to pull out for the gates, their weight is also back. And they learn, whether it's onside or offside cut to pull out for the gates, they learn that sensation. That's how it should feel when they make their first move.
Yeah.
So that's how they feel when they make every other move. How does that compare? How does that relate to where your feet are? Well, if your feet are too close to the boat, then you're going to be on the back of the ski.
Yeah.
If you let your feet come further away from the boat, more underneath your body, suddenly your ski's trimmed out, your weight's balanced over your front foot. So simple things like that, I think, are tantalizing. They're mesmerizing. They can get you stuck down a rabbit hole, but they can also be ways to simplify your skiing.
And that's, I think, after this whole, and again, I kind of like this because we've been on a bit of a journey here, even though we started with a little bit of a
welcome to
title.
FPM Podcast. It's a journey every time.
But I think at the end of the day, it's like, if you're trying to keep it simple, it's like not overthinking everything. Find your thing that works for you.
One or two things.
Go to, if you can, I mean, you're in the sport, there's coaches everywhere, there's give go, it's so important to set, but you can't don't spend $100 to go take a ski set with ZeroOff or with you or with whatever, however much it is, and then go on YouTube and say, oh, but he said this, so I'm going to try to do this, while someone's telling you to put your hips up because it's boring. Yep. I think that's one of the biggest things we get. It's such a hard sport. It's such a balanced sport. It seems so magical sometimes. Sometimes it seems so easy. Sometimes it seems so shocking. But I think it's so easy to then resort to trying different stuff.
A lot of stuff.
And a lot of different stuff and really go around. Where sometimes I'll watch a video of myself and just go, my big stories, like my dad is a very very straightforward guy. He's been around the best in the world. Yeah. He grew, obviously, was around for the whole of Will's growing up. Obviously, Mike is his brother, so he's been around very good skiers for a very long time, and he's very connected. And he knows where his favourites are. His favourites aren't down in thousandths on a fin. His whole view isn't that micro thing.
Yeah.
And he'll be like, if he said it's out of my league, it's out of my league. But the biggest thing is he'll watch a video every now and then, and he'll be like, well, do you not? I just see that.
Yeah.
And it's like. I think that one of them was I was just getting peeled off the second wake, and I was trying to focus on like hips, drive, balance here, and trying to time everything and open to close. And he was like, well, I think if you just look like you're coming off edge at first wake and then getting pulled inside and then you're back, like just keep connected and swing. I'm like, I was trying to make it in these fancy words that would go into my head correctly, whereas sometimes we just got to look and go, oh, actually, yeah. It isn't that complicated. Yeah. It's not that hard, which it can be, and if it works for you, then go ahead. But making things complicated and trying to go down a ton of different rabbit holes, which again, we can be at fault for sometimes. We make videos that are exciting, that can help some people, and a lot of mine have helped people break through. A lot of yours have gone, I'm sure you've got many messages. It's like, thank you so much, this one tip really, really helped. But there's also, use that tip if it helped, use it, but then don't just keep adding and adding and adding and change and
you can be
overcooked. You can only think of, I like Brian how he said it. He said he thinks of 3 things. He thinks of 1 thing on his gate and 2 things in the course.
Yeah.
That's it. Simple. And that's a lot. That is the most I've ever heard a pro skier think.
Yep.
And I like to think, I think of things at different stages. I can think of 3 things. 1 has to be the gate, 1 has to be wakes, 1 has to be turn.
Yeah.
Like it can't be everything at the turn. It can't be everything there, which is, again, simple.
I would say that's not every set. Those are the type of sets where you're actually trying to work on something.
Yeah.
And I think what doesn't get talked about a lot is there's sets where you're trying to work on things, and then there's sets where, and you as an elite level skier probably know when to have those type of sets versus when to have the other type of sets where you just go ski, where you're just riding the ski, just feeling, just out there to be out there. I don't know if you...
See, that's one thing that I've never been... I love skiing, always have done.
Yeah.
Will always love skiing. You've seen me on a dock.
Yep.
Get pretty bouncy every now and then. So something that I'm always, even in tournament, I always have my keys, and I always have, no matter what, I'm very rarely just skiing. Even if it's like head to head, or you've got to run 39, it's, yes, grit down, go, but I'm not just completely blank. Every time there's keys. There's the whole thing we talked about with Brian is squeeze.
But sometimes you don't carry the key with you to the exit gates.
Not the same keys, but I carry a key at certain points that...
I could almost guarantee, this is where I would differ with you.
Yeah.
I can almost guarantee when you have some of your best passes, you have stopped thinking and you've become completely in the moment.
Yeah, in a way, but don't forget we talked about this with Brian, my key is 1 word, it's squeeze. It's pretty much been the same word for the last 5, 6, 7 years.
It becomes the autopilot key for you.
Say I'm coming out of 4 ball at 41 and I'm absolutely smoking it and I'm coming to 5. I'm not in a flow state. I'm like, squeeze, like I'm like, you've got to, but it's not in me in my head thinking, okay, you've got to rotate into here and you've got to move. It's literally 1 word in my head that no matter what the situation is, if I'm coming into 5 ball, I know I've got to run it to win the head to head. I'm not blind. I'm thinking you've got to squeeze and do what you've done. And I think that's a big thing for me is always, no matter how flowy, and I understand exactly what you're saying.
I feel like when you do run 41, because we didn't talk about it yet, I feel like you're going to be one of the next. Like,
I would be down for that.
Yeah, I know.
I'd accept it.
I know.
I'd take it if it came.
Joel was close, but I think you might be the next potentially. No pressure. But I feel like to get there quicker, you're going to have to, this is my opinion, you're going to have to figure out how to let go of the
the mind.
But again, we're off track. To keep it simple. To keep it simple.
Sorry, we've gone down a major rabbit hole.
No, to keep it simple, it's like 1 key, maybe 2.
100%, and that's the thing is no matter, and that key has been there for a long time for me.
Yeah.
And but it's kind of meant a different thing as I go along. It means
evolved it.
I mean, I've completely changed how I think about the second wake, but I still use the same word, and it tells me a different thing.
Yeah.
But that 1 word, no matter, and for me, the more stressful the situation, the more I kind of dial in on that word.
Lean into it,
and the more I go, usually, come on. It's like, don't die. Usually it's don't fall, don't blow the fin, don't do this.
It's good. It's a mantra.
Yeah.
And I don't think when you have like a mantra like that means you can't be in the flow state.
No, it doesn't get in the way. And
it doesn't get in the way.
Like, I'll come out the exit gates and I don't even know what's happened in the past. That's my version of flow state.
Exactly.
I have no idea.
You've been there. You just,
Yeah, if I come out of 6 ball and I've got the handle in a tournament, unless I've died majorly, I've somehow clung on and I'm like, phew, but I don't remember it ever in tournament. But no matter what state I'm in, I always have that word there, which is, we've gone off simple. So
back to simplicity, which is the name of the game for this episode. I think we can't overlook some of the other stuff, which is like the off-water stuff. So like, I think some of the lowest hanging fruit, I don't know if you agree, some of the lowest hanging fruit for 80% of the skiers out there would be better balance, improve balance, improve strength, and improve range of motion.
Yeah.
If you have those 3 things, if you have better ankle mobility, knee mobility, hip mobility, T-spine mobility, just for starters, if you have a little more strength, 5% more strength, if you have 2% better balance, you can go out and ski next season. You're not going to change anything. 100%. How simple is that? And you're going to be a better skier.
And I think in terms of, for me, big time, and what the flow points taught me and what Jenny's taught me especially is, yes, being strong is very important and doing this, but the most important thing is being injured less.
Yes.
And all of those things that you've just said in terms of keeping it simple, it's not necessarily a measurement, it's not necessarily anything specific. You just get injured less. And that is so important if you're trying to be a good skier, whether it's at a recreational level or no matter what it is.
Nobody likes to be hurt.
But if you're recreational, then you can't go in the water, and that sucks because that's the main goal. If you're trying to win worlds, you can't ski, you can't train. That sucks. So adding those mobility points, adding those, and for me, it's the biggest thing, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face, I think Jenny's sick of it, is Cuban presses is the one exercise that I love so much, and obviously the whole YT thing, but that one started it off for me, of making my ribs be able to move, make my shoulders be able to move, and it's completely opened up my ribs and lats and area so that I never get, I'm going to get injured. I'm starting overall again next week, so I'm sure we can talk and we can.
But injured less.
But injured way less. My body feels so much better. It could all be to do with the fact that I've stopped overalling, probably, but it's the fact of how well my ribs can move now and how well things move, and that's reduced injuries for me massively. I haven't had to take a single day off the water because of injury this year. Pretty sure. Maybe somewhere. But it's a pretty aggressive sport.
And it's your shoulders, and people don't think about their shoulders and the ability to move their shoulders and have command of their shoulders is a big deal.
I always used to think of it as shoulders. Shoulders aren't that important for me as a skier in my head as a kid.
That's what I was just saying. I don't think people think they're a big deal, but that's the connection to ribs, to your body, to your ribs, to your skeletal system.
Yeah, 100%.
Through the rope, from the boat to your ski.
And that's been keeping it simple. Is off water is for me finding the right program, whether it be flow point method, whether it be your own thing. We don't care. That's not what we're here for.
Whatever it is.
But making sure that you're staying away from injury by making your body feel better, move better, be stronger, be fitter, all of that. Keep away from injury. And on water, find some keys that you enjoy. Don't go scrolling the internet at all times looking for the next greatest, bestest thing.
Flavor of the week. I call it the flavor of the week. Don't fall prey.
Flavor of the month, at least.
Yeah,
give it a month.
Least.
And it's good. Watch them. I love watching them. I watch every single one that comes out, whether it be Joel, whether it be Marcus. I make them. And it's like, but watch them, learn from them.
Yeah.
Maybe you can take something, but you can't always take something. And sometimes it's like, that ain't for me.
No.
And if it is, try it. Make it your flavor of the day, and figure out your basics.
Well, I think I think we've beat a dead horse, which is in a good way. And I think keeping it simple.
Should we go back to the live horse that we completely forgot to mention and
have at it?
Deal with it? A lot of stuff. Like deal with the rope. It's not that bad.
Deal with the freaking boat.
The boat. That's not. It could be that bad.
The wakes are
not
different.
That
bad. The ZeroOff feels different.
The wakes are different.
Don't worry about the letter. Stick with something and just.
Because I'm as much at fault for it for all of you. I have to. You can tell me next time you're at a tournament, come and just say, Rob, deal with it, and that's fine. I'll take it. Like, yes, I will.
Don't worry about the wind. It's the same for everybody.
Yeah, and we can stress about it and we can be nervous about it, but at the end of the day, the best skiers are the ones that can handle it. And the best skiers this year, you have Nate won every tournament, Will didn't miss a podium, and Freddie probably did. Well, he missed the last one, and Freddie the last one as well. But the three of the best skiers, not at one tournament, not with one setup, with different ropes, different boats, different drivers, different sites.
No matter what.
The best skiers are the best skiers because they're the best skiers.
Yeah.
You go to Malaysia, the best skiers still win. You go to Paris.
Which translates to amateur skiers, the best version of themselves is going to be somebody who can manage buffer variability, who can deal with different ropes, different drivers, different boats, and
and the reason that we do it is because we enjoy it. It's a good time.
We enjoy the challenge.
The road may be bungee. Look at it as a challenge.
It's a challenge.
Look at it as a way to be on the water, have fun, and no matter where you are, we can enjoy life. Look at that. That was a good ending.
You're getting better.
I'm getting better. I'm feeling poetic.
We're getting better.
We are slowly.
Yeah. Hey, that is keeping it simple. If you want to support the podcast, without taking a look at, we got new gear. This is a shirt that Rob folded. It's a T-shirt.
How well, mother, if you're watching this.
Should I unfold this? No.
Yeah, go on. No.
I'm going to show you another one right here. We got another one. It's just different color. We got all kinds of colors. Go to flowpointmethod.com. That's the back. That's the front. Looks like something you could actually wear to dinner. It doesn't just scream Flow Point Method like that. Okay, we got all that stuff. If you want to support us, that's one way to do it. Go to flowpointmethod.com, check out the store. Leave a comment below. DM us at Flow Point Method, Rob on Instagram. Send us give goes. That's a great way to get in touch with pros like us and help you get to that next level. And let us know what else you want us to talk about. As usual.
Thank you very much. Like, subscribe if you're there, whatever you're watching on, and we will see you all in the next one.
See you soon.